Taurus, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line. To enjoy this video, all you need to know is your birth date, because I will translate the rest for you. We're going to start out really broad with global stuff, and then we're going to focus down into Taurus specific information, and then I will break things down into the 3 decans of Taurus. A decan is a group of 10 degrees, and that will help me know what aspects are forming to your natal sun. An aspect is an angle that creates a relationship between 2 planets. So let's dig in. The big stuff. A lot of the big stuff is happening in aspects right now because there's a lot of interesting energy about. Uranus is very highly activated, and so is Jupiter, as Jupiter gets increasingly closer to Uranus in Taurus. And we also have Venus extremely activated right now. The fact that Venus and Jupiter are so active is a very optimistic kind of energy. We definitely want change. We want change. It's looking sexier and sexier to us. And what we consider valuable is also starting to be rearranged as well, I think, in some surprising ways. So let's get into it. This is for the week of August 3rd to the 9th of 2023. Venus in retrograde is going to be conjunct the sun by the 9th. So that's the last day of this week. So until then, not so much. But by the 9th, Venus will conjunct the sun. This is really big. It's in Leo. There's a lot of romance, creativity, explosive sensuality, and connection, like following your heart and connecting to each other. So that we actually can look forward to a very romantic week to come, is what I'm saying. Mercury is going to be conjunct to Mars. It's going to conjunct Mars around the same time. So we're going to take action and talk and say something. And then Mercury will be out of the influence of Saturn, and we won't feel restricted. And maybe we can finally take actions and move forward on some stuff that has been sort of churning and just waiting and sitting there, had been stagnant. Venus is trying to Chiron and square to Uranus. And I love this. I love this for her. Because why? Because it means she's making up from the past by learning from it. She's finding beauty in the challenges and the struggles. She's finding purpose in it. And that's kind of what's inspiring her to not want to be the same, to not want to be identified as the same as she always has, to just have these sort of surprising inclinations that will pop up, especially when we're talking about relationships. So there's could be a lot of chaos when it comes to relationships and what we want and what we desire right now. We also have Jupiter square to the sun and Venus by the 9th, but it's square to the sun all week, which is making us want to, be bigger than our britches. It's challenging us. There's a challenge to even slow ourselves down a little bit and not get ahead of ourselves, because while it's a very optimistic energy, it's also sometimes it gets too far ahead of itself. So, but maybe that's what we need right now. I don't know. Jupiter is also trine to Mars and eventually Mercury by the end of the week. So Jupiter wants to take action. And it's very optimistic about taking action. And this is sort of the energy of act first, think later. But it's a good time to do it. It's actually a good time to do it. When Jupiter is trine to Mars, it is a great time to act first, think later. Because it's almost like you're really tuned into your sense of spiritual purpose. And that's going to guide you in the right direction. Your optimism could be the only thing leading you through right now. And then we have Mercury shadow period. Okay, Mercury shadow period will come by the end of this week. What does that mean? It means by the 23rd of this month, Mercury is going to go into retrograde. Yes, oh my God, Mercury and Venus, together in retrograde. It's going to be great. It is. It's going to be Venus and Mercury in retrograde, along with Pluto in retrograde. Along with Saturn in retrograde, along with Neptune in retrograde. Now, these guys always go into retrograde around this summer season. That's not odd. They will all come out of retrograde in the fall. Venus will come out of retrograde October 4th. Mercury will come out of retrograde a lot sooner than that. Oh, no, maybe. No. It'll go into October, mid-October. Yeah. Oh, no, September, mid-September, it'll come out of retrograde. So what does that mean for us? Well, for right now, it's sort of maybe feeling like things are starting to build up to something. And you are correct. But I don't think we can definitely put our finger on what that is, because Uranus always has a surprise up its sleeve for us. So I think this is a lesson in improv and going with the flow right now. It's not just that, though. It's us challenging our norms. And what is normal, we are heavily challenging. I don't mean to get political. I don't mean to do anything like that. But that's the energy. There's a lot of switches and changes, especially when it comes to money, because Uranus is in Taurus, and that's all our finances. So there is a lot of science and tech that is going into finance that we really haven't used before, and that is shaking shit up. It is. And this Venus retrograde square to Uranus can make us feel like maybe some of us point out where some of us haven't caught up, or where there are some chinks in the works and they need to be reviewed. Yeah, I'm just going to stop there. I just want to stop there. It's not, this is supposed to be about you guys. This is not a global reading or predictions for, our politics, but this is going to focus on you guys. But those are the general energies this week. Let's look at the specific Taurus energies. For that, I look at Taurus and I look at Venus. So what is going on in the zodiac sign of Taurus, and what's going on with your ruling dignitary? So in Taurus, we have Jupiter, and it will move between 13 and 14 degrees this week. And then we also have Uranus, and it's holding steady at 22 degrees. Pretty sure Uranus is gonna post retrograde soon, so we'll talk about that in a while. But ultimately, there's a lot of important energy that's happening in Taurus. And so you guys will feel the dynamic changes and the shifts to want to expand or grow outside of the ordinary. With Jupiter and Uranus, it's like you all are pushed to do that. Venus is in retrograde. We already kind of discussed her. She's moving in Leo between 25 and 22 degrees. She'll retrograde. She's trying to Chiron, which means finding beauty in the lessons we've learned, finding a harmony and a grace because of the challenges that we've been through. And then we have a square to Uranus, which means I don't want to be looked at the same way. I don't want to be valued the same way. I'm not attracted to the same things. I'm attracted to odd things. Things are outside of the norm for me. Now, usually this square doesn't last that long, but since she's in frickin' retrograde, it's going to last long. It's gonna be around for a while, and then when she gets out of retrograde, she's going to re-square Uranus when she's going direct. So ultimately, we got a lot of Venus-Uranus square interaction going on over the next 2 months. And that means she's shaking shit up when it comes to value systems and what we want or who we're attracted to. So this could challenge a lot of relationships. I think the really strong relationships will just get a little freakier, They'll want to try new stuff, shall we say. But for those that have become stagnated, this could break your asses. I'm just letting you know, because it's like we don't want boredom now. Let's go into the decans of Taurus, okay? If you know your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Taurus, your sun is in the first decan of Taurus, so you are Taurus 1s. In terms of birthdays, this correlates to April Tauruses, basically April 22nd through May 1st would be Taurus 1s. Your natal suns, not a lot is happening specifically for this week. It's just long term, sextile to Saturn and square to Pluto. Oh, people are going to take you seriously. You have a formidable energy about you. Get to work, go to work, and grind, because there are definite opportunities opening up for you to build yourself out into the world. That's it for right now. Taurus 2s, there's a lot happening, because Jupiter is very active. Jupiter is conjunct your natal suns. I'm sorry, if you know your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Taurus, you are Taurus 2s. This correlates to May 2nd through the 11th. Your birthdays, generally speaking. Your natal suns are conjunct to Jupiter. What does that mean? It means you take yourself real seriously and you take one lesson in piano and you think you're a maestro. Like, that's the kind of energy, like, you sort of, your head is a little bit big, right? Your sense of ego and your sense of self-worth is huge. So the good thing about this is there's optimism here. The bad thing about it is it's like relentless optimism. Even when you shouldn't be optimistic, you will be. So it's really just be optimistic, stay confident, but don't get entitled. Because that's what you got to stay away from. But let's see what else this week. Your natal suns are square to the current sun, which can mean that you're butting heads with other egos a lot right now. And also this sense of maybe getting really arrogant or feeling maybe your sense of self for some reason, or your sense of importance is being challenged constantly. So this could be pretty challenging energy this week for you in terms of just your confidence levels. And since the sun is in Leo, could also have to do with what's going on with your romantic life or your passions and your work or your courage levels. You could feel them just challenged, not diminished, but challenged. You are also trine to Mercury. So what does that mean? Great communication. It's a fantastic time to be heard or to have your thoughts heard. So to get your thoughts across and have confidence in them. There's also a sense of paperwork to be signed and tests to take and interviews to do and auditions to go on. Unless you're part of the Hollywood strike, but whatever. This is a good time for communications and negotiations. And then we have a trine to Mars as well. And that's just beautiful energy, especially with Jupiter conjunct your natal sun. Are you kidding me? You're going to go so far this week. Definitely communicate, reach that hand across the table, talk to people, make deals, get yourself out there, try things. There is a grace and an energy of optimism to you this week that will do nothing short of bless you. Just an FYI. Since Mars is in Virgo, I would definitely say a lot of these actions should be taken through paperwork, through learning, through intellect, and through scheduling. But as long as you stay within those parameters, I think things will work really, really well for you. Just an FYI. Taurus 3s. If you know your natal sun is between where was I? 20 and 29 degrees, then you're a Taurus 3 because your natal sun is in the third decan of Taurus. What does that mean? Your natal suns are conjunct Uranus. There's a lot of activity for you guys too. Your natal suns are square to Venus, which means, yeah, you could be stirring up the pot when it comes to romance, or just find yourself being attracted to the freaky stuff, the strange stuff that's out of the ordinary. You might want to spice up your love life by adding that kind of stuff in. And you guys in particular might want to look into, no, I'm not going to say that because I think it's stupid. You might want to, this could be a very experimental and ingenuitive time for you, but especially when it comes to your looks and the way that you would decorate things, or just the way that you would present yourself, or who you would find attractive, or want to get a little kinky. FYI. We also have a long-term sextile to Neptune and a long-term trine to Pluto. What does that mean? You're right in the center somehow, Taurus 3s. You're right at the epicenter of whatever big technological, scientific, mathematical breakthrough that's going to be kicking off over the next, like, it's going to be kicking off now, and it's going to be playing out over the next 13 years about then. I think especially Uranus in Taurus is asking us to be original when it comes to financials or the way we go about making money. And so especially for you guys, since it's conjunct your natal sun, you might want to look into different things like just different kind of currency alternatives or different kind of banking alternatives. Doesn't have to be currency alternatives, but banking alternatives. It could be you that kind of like opens up the door or takes on the idea of sort of community banks. Why do I say that? Because we have Pluto. Eventually it's going to be heading back into Aquarius, and Uranus is still going to be there riding your suns. So this is a change or a shift in fairness or in community or society, liberation and rebellion. And then that's going to eventually be conjunct your not conjunct, but trine your natal suns, because Uranus is still going to be conjunct your natal suns. So there is a sense of, how can I do this differently? How can I pay my bills differently? How can I provide for my future or plan for it differently by being innovative? All of those questions should be coming up right now. But this week in particular, the square to Venus is going to really spice things up. Could also fuck things up for you if you have a long-term relationship, if you don't try to include your partner in your rebellion, in wanting to try new things. If they're willing, I think this could actually strengthen your partnership. I love you guys so much. Please leave your comments in the links below and let me know, how is this energy impacting you? And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card message. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.